as you go to prepare and then to write and then submit and publish an academic book review, I want you to keep these goals in mind. I want you to have these endpoints in mind. These are the purposes behind an academic book review. Number one, it is a critique. You will be critiquing. You will be critiquing the accuracy of the statements made in the book. Is it wrong? Is it right? Is it new but in a wrong way? Is it new but in a way that feels very right? You will be assessing the accuracy of this book. You will also be assessing the presentation. Does the author or authors bring their arguments in a rational manner, in a reasonable manner, in a logical manner? Does it make sense? Can you understand it? Does one discussion flow into another neatly? Is it enjoyable to read? Is it a page turner? You know, can you not resist putting it down? Did you binge read it all night long? That's important. That plays a role of how engaging the book is. You know, and you've read good and bad books, good and bad academic books. You've watched good and bad movies. You've read good and bad journal articles. Some journal articles are fantastic sources of information, of news scholarship, and they are an absolute slog to get through. And you have to do a lot of deciphering and piecing together and like, oh, okay, I know there's something important here, but or you've been to a conference presentation by like a Nobel laureate and you're like, wow, this is the most impressive discussion. The content is amazing, but I'm gonna fall asleep. That hurts. And same on the other side. This could be a beautiful read, a gorgeous read. I get all the information, but the information's also wrong. So you are going to be evaluating those separately. And you will be evaluating the merit. Is it a minor advance in the field? Is it a step back in the field? Is it a major new advance? Does this new technique actually enliven the field and reinvigorate the field? Is this one piece in a much bigger puzzle that is very impressive? Is this a relatively minor contribution? Is it off base? What is the merit? Think like you are a peer reviewer for a journal article where you have to decide, is this actually new? Is this actually noteworthy? Is this actually original? What is the actual scholarly merit in this book? You will be thinking of that from the get-go. And then at the end of the day, after you've written your evaluation and the summary, and we will talk about this a lot more in detail very soon, you will be providing a recommendation. You will be advising if the book is worth reading. You will say things like, this book has its flaws, but could be very useful for graduate students. Or this book is top of the class. Everyone in the field should read this. You might say everyone outside the field or in adjacent fields should read this and should understand it because it is that clear, it is that powerful, that is that game changing. You will make a recommendation, which is a very scary thing to do, especially if this is your first academic book review, especially if this is your first go around, or if you're a junior academic. This is going to be a very nervous, a thing that makes you nervous. Because you are going to have to put your name and your recommendation. You're going to have to give a stamp, knowing who the author is, knowing the journal, knowing the editor, knowing the audience, everything. You are going to have to put your name on a stamp, on a recommendation. That's a scary thing. The good news is everybody does it. Everybody expects you to do it. It's just like putting your name at the top of a journal article. It's going to be one of the things you do in academia. It is simply a part of the job. So it's not as scary as you might think it is.